My name is Luke Voigt. I own a supplement company. We make mushroom extracts, all sorts of mushroom extracts. Before I met Victor, I was struggling financially, very much so. I was in about $150,000 of debt through business loans. I was living at my parents' house. Um, I had a failing business. I hadn't been on a date in probably a year. So I was going through a low period, coming from making 30 grand a month to losing 20 to 30 grand a month, from having an extravagant dating life to not talking to any girls, having my own sweet pad to living at my parents' house. So I was definitely in a dark time. I decided to hire Victor because I was aware that all of my issues with the finances and issues in my business and dating and relationships were based on my decisions. I needed somebody to help me tune up my decisions, get my head in the right spot, um, because there was nothing objectively in the way of me succeeding. And I was acutely aware that I was the problem. So I needed somebody to help me get right in the head, in the actions. And I knew that Victor was going to help me do that. One of the first big wins I had with Victor was my business was going up and down a lot. And when it would go down, I would get stressed out and usually make a quick move to try and correct things, and it would just make it worse. Victor helped me step back and analyze why we were going down. And in that analyzation process, through a protocol he provided, I doubled the profit in one single month. I was making about 2,000. I went up to 4,000. And then fast forward a couple months later, I had my first $50,000 month. So my income took a huge jump just implementing some simple processes that Victor brought into my life. I've worked with a lot of different coaches. I've worked with business coaches. I've worked with therapists, and both of those didn't work for me. I think the business people were too focused on business, weren't really taking into account who I was, my behaviors, and they were just looking at it kind of like math, like it was just numbers. So do this thing and you'll get this result, but they weren't factoring in my character and my flaws, or um, the way that my psychology works. Whereas the therapists, they were too focused on the feelings, not as much about the tactical moves I needed to make in business. And I think Victor provided a sweet balance between the action steps I needed to take, but also helping me curate a process that took into account how my psychology worked, how I needed to work, and how I needed to implement the actions. And it was finding that sweet balance that allowed me to finally make the moves that I knew I should have been making. And that's when I finally started getting the results. Yeah, I think one of the things that Victor helped me unlock was happiness in the moment. I've had a lot of circumstantial improvements in my life since I was working with Victor, and a lot of things have entered my life that I should be happy for, and I can be happy for. But what also changed for me is realizing that what I have now is something I can be happy about. Where in the past, I always had these really far out milestones, like I had to be a multimillionaire, I had to have Swedish supermodels on my arm, I had to be driving an exotic car to be happy. So I always kept pushing the happiness post farther and farther. And what I experienced with Victor is he helped me be happy with what I have. And what I have has been growing and growing and growing, probably as a result of me being grateful and appreciative of what is in my life at each moment. So I've been a lot happier in the pursuit of these big goals, and realizing that I don't need them. I don't need the things I want. Everything that I need is right in front of me, and I can be happy about that. So basically, achieving a state of grateful yet striving. And that's a place I wasn't before. I was in huge scarcity and huge lack, even though I had a lot to be grateful for. But now I've really settled into that grateful yet striving. So outside of the financial gains that I've got in working with Victor and getting my decisions right, the biggest thing, the most impactful thing I've actually experienced is the reduction in social anxiety. A lot of that stems into being grateful for what I've got and being confident in what I've got now, because I always used to put it in my head that I had to be completely made. I had to be perfect. I had to have all this abundance to walk around with my head high. So I would enter social interactions. I'd be speaking with a pretty girl, for example, and feel insecure because I didn't have millions in the bank. Victor helped me realize that I have a lot to be confident for now. And in that, my social anxiety has completely vanished. I still get nervous when I'm approaching a 10 out of 10 girl, but I wouldn't classify it as anxiety. It's more just a little bit of a heart racing excitement instead of a terror that I used to feel. I used to get really in my head. I used to look down at my phone as an automatic reaction when I'd be approached by a girl or get in a situation where there's some girls. Now I just walk up to a girl, introduce myself, meet them, get their number. And, I've had some really abundant dating experiences that I didn't have before going through these processes with Victor. And I'm just really grateful for all the people it's brought into my life. My social life has 10x over the last 6 months. And I feel like a completely new man, and I'm a lot more fulfilled in the social arena. As far as recommending Victor, I've already recommended Victor to several of my closest friends, including my business mentors. These are people that it's really important to me. I don't lose face with. So me recommending Victor to these people is a huge vote of confidence. I would say anybody considering Victor, my results speak for themselves. He's completely changed my life, or given me the tools to change my own life. And that's another thing I like about Victor. He makes it very clear he's not the one waving a magic wand. He's building you up, teaching you how to fish, teaching you how to improve your life. So these tools that he teaches you, they're going to be with you. You're going to be able to use them at every point in your life. It's not just a benefit while you're getting coaching. It's going to keep going. So anyone considering Victor, I highly, highly recommend it.